News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Nathan Hager.
And I'm Karen Moskow.
Karen, we begin with the latest on the situation in Venezuela following an extraordinary weekend of airstrikes in and around Caracas and the capture of President Nicolas Maduro. With questions swirling about what comes next, President Trump says the U.S. needs total access to Venezuela.
We're going to run everything. We're going to run it, fix it. We'll have elections at the right time. But the main thing you have to fix is a broken country.
President Trump spoke aboard Air Force One on his way back to Washington from Mar-a-Lago, where he oversaw the weekend strike. The president says the U.S. will work with acting Venezuelan President Delcy Rodriguez, though he says he has not spoken with her. Rodriguez put out a statement late last night inviting the U.S. to work with her on a cooperation agenda. It's a contrast to her initial reaction calling for Maduro's return, as we hear from Bloomberg's Jill Desus.
Definitely a change in tone from her initial statements, which were denouncing the actions of the U.S. and calling for Maduro's return. But I think the really important thing to remember here is that, Trump seems, certainly content with leaving her in charge. So, I'd kind of point to that as being potentially a factor there in her now talking about cooperation.
That's Bloomberg's Jill Desus. As for Maduro, he is due to appear in Manhattan federal court today to face charges that could keep him and his wife behind bars for the rest of their lives. A trial on narco-terrorism charges is not expected until next year. It's unclear if Maduro has hired a lawyer for today's hearing.
Well, Nathan, Secretary of State Marco Rubio is emerging as the Trump administration's point man on Venezuela. He appeared on several of the Sunday political shows to say the U.S. is running where Venezuela goes from here.
There's a quarantine right now in which sanctioned oil shipments, there's a boat, and that boat is under U.S. sanctions. We go get a court order, we will seize it. That remains in place. And that's a tremendous amount of leverage that will continue to be in place until we see changes that not just further the national interest of the United States, which is number one, but also that lead to a better future for the people of Venezuela.
And that was Secretary Rubio on CBS's Face the Nation. Republican hawks are rallying around the administration following the weekend attack. Senate Intelligence Chairman Tom Cotton was also on Face the Nation.
This was an excellent operation. Only the United States military could have pulled it off, but they couldn't have pulled it off without the support of the professionals in the intelligence community.
Republican Senator Tom Cotton, but isolationists within the party like Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene are criticizing the strike.
This is the same Washington playbook that we are so sick and tired of, that doesn't serve the American people, but actually serves the big corporations, the banks, and the oil executives.
And Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene appeared on NBC's Meet the Press. You can hear Meet the Press and Face the Nation every Sunday on Bloomberg Radio.
Karen, the U.S. plan to revive Venezuela's oil industry could take years and cost up to $100 billion. Bloomberg's John Tucker joins us with that part of the story. John, good morning.
And good morning, Nathan. Experts say rebuilding Venezuela's oil industry would require companies, including Chevron, to invest about $10 billion per year over the next decade. Right now, Chevron shares up about 7% pre-market. Christopher Sabatini, senior research fellow at Chatham House, says there isn't much left of the oil infrastructure in Venezuela.
Problem is, and this was the case in Iraq too, you're looking at, basically in the case of Venezuela, more than 2 decades of an autocratic, corrupt regime.
At Venezuela's oil ports, the equipment is in such bad shape, it takes up to 5 days to fully load supertankers. Oil rigs have been abandoned, spills go unchecked, drilling pads have been ransacked, fires and explosions have gutted equipment. Venezuela does sit atop the world's largest oil reserves, but output plummeted during the 12-year term of Nicolas Maduro. The nation currently produces about 1 million barrels a day, compared to nearly 4 million barrels back in 1974. And if the output does increase, oil prices may decline, offering less incentive for the oil companies to invest. In New York, I'm John Tucker, Bloomberg Radio.
Thanks, John. And that's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Karen Moskow.
I'm Nathan Hager, and this is Bloomberg.